Welcome everyone to Defender for Cloud in the Field. We had a great episode starting after Ignite. We talked about Defender for DevOps. It was very well received. Thank you very much for everyone that subscribed to our Microsoft Security channel. I'm going to put the AK link below in case you have not subscribed yet. Make sure to visit this playlist and click subscribe. In today's episode, we're going to continue our Ignite follow-up. And today we are going to talk about some really cool new capabilities that we release at Ignite. And to talk about that, I'm going to welcome back my friend Tal Rosler that came here twice. So this is the third time here. Tal, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks, Yuri. Thanks for having me. Really exciting to be here again.
Yeah, and every time that Tal is on the show is because something new is happening. So you already know. And this time it's something really new because we release a new capability called Cloud Secure Graph, Attack Path Analysis, and Cloud Secure Explorer. It's a package of things, and I want first of all understand from you, Tal, what is the rationale behind having those capabilities? What are we trying to address with those capabilities?
Sure. So let me share my deck and explain why we're doing it. Okay. So today in Defender for Cloud, we have a great solution for cloud security posture management. We know to detect very well all vulnerabilities and all cloud misconfigurations you have in your multi-cloud environment and provide you with a list of actionable security issues to resolve. But one of the biggest challenges we're hearing from security teams is that they have too much security issues to resolve. Security teams dealing with thousands and even more security issues each minute and don't have the resources to address them all. And we try to give them a solution to better prioritize the work and understand what should be immediately resolved and what can be resolved later on. So this is actually the purpose of the new release.
Okay, so we are addressing how to prioritize the issues and understand exactly what needs to be done right away rather than rely on our static list of security recommendations that will improve the security posture over time. Okay, now going specifically to the attack path analysis, what it is, the attack path analysis.
Okay, so to explain about the attack path analysis, I will first explain what is the new cloud security graph that we built, and then how attack path analysis leverages it.
Okay.
Let me show you how it works. So the cloud security graph is a new cloud-based context engine in Defender for Cloud. We're collecting data about the multi-cloud environments of our customers from numerous amount of data sources and building a graph representing the environment of each customer. So the cloud security graph collecting data about the assets inventory of the customer, potential lateral movement and connection between resources, about exposure to internet, permissions, and a lot of context that is very relevant for security teams and to allow us to better assess risk of the cloud environment. And after doing all this, we are using our new attack path analysis capabilities. That's what they do. They scan the cloud security graph, our new cloud context engine, and detect attack paths exist in the graph that attackers can potentially utilize in order to breach your environment. We're trying to proactively help you to find these paths before attackers finding them and remediate them before you're being breached. So this is what attack path analysis is helping you to do.
So this is the platform that allows the attack path analysis to take place.
Exactly. And the attack path analysis is actually an algorithm that's known to traverse the cloud security graph platform, to look on all the assets, all lateral movements, abilities between resources, and take all context into account and find paths that attackers can potentially exploit and guide you how to remediate them in order to break the chain and mitigate the attack path. And later on, I will show you exactly how it looks like.
Well, let's show me now.
Sounds good. So from the main page of Defender for Cloud, I will go to security recommendations. So here in security recommendations, you can see the list of all security issues found by Defender for Cloud. You can see that in my environment, I have many issues found. And specifically, I have around 800 resources with security issues. But from all these issues, you can see now that Defender for Cloud found around 100 attack paths, which imposing the resources to immediate risk. So what we recommend you to do is to start solving the issues that are part of attack paths, reduce the risk of compromise to the minimum possible, and only then come back here and resolve the less risky recommendations and issues. So I will go to attack path analysis to show you how it works. So you can see that in my environment, we found 100 attack paths, which I have several types of things that's found. So first, Defender for Cloud found a virtual machine which is vulnerable and also exposed to the internet and allowing attackers to move laterally and gain access to keys and secrets in my organization. Very severe situation. We also found Kubernetes pods, which running on Azure and also exposed to the internet directly, and running images which have high severity vulnerabilities. And we even found AWS EC2 instances, which is directly exposed to internet and allowing attacker to move laterally and gain permission to entire AWS account and do anything you want in my AWS environment. So now let me drill to one attack path and show you how it works. So in this attack path, Defender for Cloud found a virtual machine. You can see here the virtual machine, and you can see here all the graph representing what we found. And by clicking on the virtual machine, I can go ahead and go to Insights and see that we found a virtual machine which is vulnerable to remote code execution. You can see here the exact list of vulnerabilities which detected on this machine, and you can click on it to learn more. So this machine is vulnerable to remote code execution, but the machine is also exposed to the internet. You can see here all the details about how it's exposed to the internet. We know to detect exposure in many possible ways that machines can be exposed. So the machine is vulnerable to remote code execution, exposed to internet, but also have a managed identity attached, which gives her permissions to Key Vault, which contains keys and secrets of their organizations. So attacker finding this situation can try from the internet, exploit the vulnerability, get remote code execution on the virtual machine, and use the permissions to move laterally to the Key Vault, read the keys and secrets, and move laterally furthermore in your organization. So this is a pretty severe situation, and what we recommend you is to prioritize the remediation of these vulnerabilities before you resolve vulnerability on other resources in your environment, because here attacker can actually cause you a very severe damage. And to do so, after you understand all the details, you should go to the recommendations tab, and here you can find the exact security recommendations Defender for Cloud found on this resource, and by clicking you can go to the recommendation page and get step-by-step instruction on how to remediate the vulnerabilities. In this way, we actually helped you to focus, instead of solving a long list of vulnerabilities, solving first these vulnerabilities, which is actively stop attackers from exploit an exposed machine with lateral movement, and thus remove the risk of compromise dramatically in the most effective way.
This is fantastic, and I'm pretty sure the customers are going to love this, because we heard this feedback many times about how help on the prioritization, and I love the fact that we contextualize everything. Now the question is, are those attack paths something that are we coming out of the box with some attack paths pre-established and over time gonna add more, or this is like dynamic that it creates on its own?
Good question. So currently we have a list of scenarios we know to detect, and you can see in Defender for Cloud, it's across Azure resources, AWS resources, Kubernetes resources, and our security research team constantly doing a security research and creating more and more scenarios we're detecting. So you have a closed but very, very big list of scenarios, and we're constantly extending it. And using the Cloud Security Explorer, which I will show you in a second, you can actually search and find all stuff you want on top of our graph and do all customizations you would like to do to meet your specific organization needs.
Is this information also retrievable via API?
It's currently, it's worth to mention, all this experience is in public preview. It's released in Ignite, and we're going to add API closer to the GA and
so the plan for GA is to have API that you're going to be able to make those queries via API, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. You talk about the Secure Explorer, Cloud Secure Explorer, that customers can build their own queries. If they build a query that they think is important, I believe that they will be able to save that query to use later on, right?
Currently we allow you to export link to the query and save it and go over again and use that link to run the query. But later on, we will also allow you to save directly in the product and see all the queries you saved and share it with friends. But also now you can go ahead, export a link to the query and save it in your environment and then use it again. I can show you if you would like.
Yeah, let's take a look on the Cloud Secure Explorer, how it works.
Sure. Okay, so this is the Cloud Security Explorer. It allows you to run custom queries on top of our graph and actually ask whatever interesting you and whatever relevant for your organization on top of our data. You can start and use our predefined templates. It's templates created by our security research team in order to help you start and use the Explorer, or you can start a query from scratch using the query builder. Let me show you how it works, and I will start and choose the first template, which looking for all virtual machine in my environment, which is effectively exposed to the internet. We're not only looking on direct exposure, but on any effective exposure of this virtual machine. I will click search, and you can see that Defender for Cloud find all virtual machine in my environment, which is effectively exposing to the internet. Now let's use the second template to make this list shorter and look not only for exposed machine, but also for machines that exposed and vulnerable with high severity vulnerability. So I will click search, and then you can see that the list of machine got narrowed, and now you can see only machines which are also exposed to the internet, but also have high severity vulnerabilities, which make it in high risk. And I can go even further and look for lateral movement capabilities between resources. So I can keep this query and not only look for exposed and vulnerable machine, but also machine with connection to other resources, and specifically for a machine that can authenticate to identity, which has permissions to resources. So for the sake of the example, I will search for permissions to Key Vault. Let's say this is the scenario that's interesting in my organization. Click search. And you can see that now I got only one result, only one machine, which is both exposed, vulnerable, and allowing lateral movement to a Key Vault. So I can go ahead and resolve the vulnerability on this machine. I can click here on the vulnerabilities and be directed exactly to where it should be remediated and resolved, and reduce risk effectively. I can also use the Explorer to do customization. So if, for example, you are interested only in one specific vulnerability, you want to patch across the organization, you can look only for specific vulnerability with specific CVAD and not for all the vulnerabilities we found. If, for example, you have tagging convention and you tag production resources in some specific way, you can go ahead and custom this query to look only on virtual machine with some specific Azure or AWS tag, with specific key or specific value. And then I can go ahead and do a lot of customization here and find the exact issue that's relevant for my organization.
Wow, this is awesome. This is really cool, Tal. It will definitely help in situations like Log4j, right? When we had the Log4j outbreak, this tool would be fantastic to have because you can go straight to the machines that are compromised with Log4j, for example. But it could be any other one, but just came to my mind that one.
Exactly, and you can see this in our templates. We actually have a template for this. So once Log4j or any other vulnerability found, you can query directly for this vulnerability, and we will publish you very soon a template giving you this capability. But you can do it on your own, and just after some vulnerability was emerged, you can go ahead and search for it in the Explorer directly.
Awesome. One of the questions that I was supposed to ask when you were talking about the attack path analysis is about the data that we are using to rationalize that, right? Are we already utilizing the new integration with EASM to feed the overall cloud security map?
It's a good question. So yes, it's already included in the attack path analysis feature. What we are doing, Defender ESM helps you to detect exposed machine from outside in. They scan the internet and find machines that's effectively exposed to internet. So we did an integration with Defender ESM, and on top of our attack passes, we're not only detecting exposure via configuration analysis of the actual configuration in the cloud provider, but also validating it with the Defender ESM findings. It's included in our offering. It's not requiring license of Defender ESM. It's available for all customers. So on top of the attack pass, you will see marks say the exposure validated by Defender ESM. And if you would like to use Defender ESM to better investigate the exposure or better investigate the finding of Defender ESM, you can click on the finding, be directed to the Defender ESM portal. There you will need a license, and you can use their investigation tools to do further investigation. But the basic capability of using these findings are available for all customers.
That's fantastic to know because this is fully integrated, part of the product out of the box, does not require additional license. We are looking to those insights and we are providing that additional value. And the customer will only need any license if they want to investigate further, and they have to switch between the Defender for Cloud portal to the ESM, Defender for ESM, right?
Totally correct.
Yeah.
And we're also doing such integration with the broader suite of Microsoft security products. So for example, our vulnerability assessment is powered by threat and vulnerability management of Microsoft Defender. It's out of the box, and we actually also did an agentless version of this vulnerability assessment agent. So we don't need to deploy any agent to use it. We are using the cloud native infrastructure in order to do it agentless. And we will also integrate with Microsoft Entra and the broader suite of Microsoft products. Exactly.
Fantastic. Just to close this, all these features, they are part of our new CSPM offering. Is that correct?
Correct. It's part of Defender CSPM.
And this offering right now is in public preview, so it's free. Customers can try it out. But this will be part of a paid plan once it goes to GA.
Correct.
Awesome. So everyone, make sure to visit Defender for Cloud and start to explore those functionalities. Right now, there's a public preview. Tal, any final consideration that you want to highlight?
Just for a question before, if you want to save this query, you can click in the Security Explorer. I will show you in my demo environment. You can click here on Share Query, and it will copy you a URL with link to your query, and you can go to the browser, use the URL, and you will go directly to the exact same query. You can share it with your team. You can save it and create for you a catalog of queries, and etc. So this is also supported with the Security Explorer.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thanks for the extra tip, Tal. And thanks again for joining the
Sure.
show. And congratulations for this release. I know that you and the whole team been working very hard to get this done. So congratulations.
Thanks a lot. And thanks, Yuri, for inviting me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely, my friend. All right, everyone. This is a wrap for today's episode. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe, the AK link below, and make sure to hit the bell so you can get notifications when new episodes are released. Stay tuned. We have much more post Ignite announcements episodes for you. See you soon.